Yo, welcome back to Heartbeat Arena episode 74, y'all. Man, we came a long way from being on the couch to being in the studio, y'all. It's your boy Trillionaire Chuck. Today, this is what we talking about. Gilbert Arenas, Kwame Brown. Finally, Gil is saying, I'm done with the beef, man. I'm done with it. I'm not talking about you no more. Let's find out what they're into. Let's talk about Josh Allen and the Bills, who lost to the Miami Dolphins last weekend. The Bears on the rise with yet another win against the Giants, right? Hey, is Caleb Williams bringing sunshine back to Shy City? And you know we save the best for last. Relationship talk. But before we start, this ain't for the casuals. This here is factual. Real talk, real game, every word impactful. Hit that subscribe. Turn them alerts on live. Tap that like. Show love. Don't stall. We talking big game. Never, ever thinking small. Let's get into it. So, if you all remember, Gilbert Arenas and Kwame Brown had this beef going on. Kwame wants to blame people like Gilbert Arenas, Michael Jordan, and all them for how he say messing up his psyche or preventing him from making more money in the NBA, right? Then Gilbert Arenas goes on and talks about what really happened, what really went down, everything in that nature, right? It went from people backing Kwame to people would say like, yeah, Kwame was right, to now people kind of, they really easing back from Kwame, man. Like it's ugly out there for him, right? But think about this now. After 4 years of YouTube smoke and old team drama, right? Gilbert Arenas and Kwame Brown finally buried it. It's over with, it's done. Okay. Sportskeeda reports Gil said, I finally got my answer. The same men who used mics as weapons used them for peace this time, right? So basically, it's just going on saying that like masculine ego met accountability and accountability won, right? Kwame wanted respect. Gil wanted understanding. Okay. Now they both walk away with clarity, right? No fake tough talk, no clout bait, just maturity on camera. It's a time when men go viral for chaos. These two went viral for closure. That's the lesson, right? Beef ends when growth begins. Sources coming from Sports Skeeter Basketball 2025, right? Because Gil went on for about 5 hours talking, getting the closure that he needed, right? Called Kwame up in a whole bunch of his lies from how he was this double guy when he went into the NBA to how he broke his arm. It was all types of things he just was lying about for no reason. And once Gil finally put it to rest, Gil said he is no longer going to talk about it anymore, right? He's over it, is done for. Gil made an interesting point. He said the people like Sister T, everybody that was rocking with you, ears, all of them, now they are no longer cool with you. Why is that? Because you threw them under the bus, right? You, for whatever reason, you did bad business, whatever, Kwame, they found out who you were, right? Gil said, the people who I'm cool with in the NBA, I've helped get on, right? Where did he lie about that? Got Nick Young on there, got Kenyon on there, Rashad McCants on there on his show. Like, who has Kwame helped? Kwame talks so much about like People talking about the black man, everything like that. Yet this is the same guy that bashed Bronny James, right? That bashed him and talk about he lived with LeBron James and how come he's not learning the game from his dad or being like his dad. And then Gil was like, well, you was under Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Rasheed Wallace. How come you didn't learn the game from them? So now that that's over, I'm glad. Because now I don't got to see that on my timeline no more about Kwame and Gil beefing. Though it was entertaining, though it was funny. I got a few yucks out of it, but it's getting tiring and it's getting old. I doubt we hear anything from Kwame, and I doubt if anybody tunes in and listens to anything that he says. Okay, but let's move on. Let's talk about some football, y'all. So the Bills fall to the Dolphins another week, another Buffalo heartbreak. The final score, Miami. It was roughly, according to ESPN, they were trying to say it was like 21-17. Let me fact check that real quick because I believe it was that score. When I looked at it, it was completely a different picture. But let me just see real quick. Let's see here. Buffalo Bills versus Miami. What was that score? Yep, I knew it. Miami 30 to Buffalo 13. Ooh, let's look at what happened in this game, right? Okay. So Josh Allen, he was 28 for 40, right? He threw for 306 yards. He had two touchdowns and then he had one interception, right? But he had a four carries with a total rushing yards of 31, and he was averaging 7.8 yards in this particular game, right? Now, we got James Cook here who had 13 carries. He had 13 carries. He had a total of 53 yards that game with averaging of a 4.1 rushing yards per game, right? Then Trubisky was in the game. Mitch Trubisky. He had one carry for 4 yards, right? Averaging total, 4 yards. But let's talk about the receiving core, right? With Buffalo. We had Khalil Shakir, right? Who has 7 receptions, totaling 58 receiving yards, averaging 8.3 receiving yards per game, right? Now, he had a total of 9 targets that game. Okay. Then you had Keon Coleman, who had 3 receptions, 46 yards, averaging 15.3 uh, total. Total receiving yards for that game, right? He had one touchdown, right? He had a total of 8 targets. Okay. Their other touchdown came from Jackson Halls, right? Number 85. He had one reception, total 26 yards, average 26 yards, one touchdown, as I stated, and he had a total of like 2 targets, right? But what got the Dolphins rolling? Well, let's see. It was Tua. Now let's just see what Tua had, just to make sure we all are on point here. Tua, yeah. So he was 15 for 21, right? And he threw for a total of 173 yards, averaging 8.2 yards per pass, right? Now, he had 2 touchdowns to with also 2 interceptions. Now, Tua's on my what do you call shit list, right? He's on my shit list. I think Tua needs to just retire from football. He's playing on a playoff bound team, but he's just I don't think he's having flashbacks. Okay, like people be coming, he just flashing, flashing, because he's not the guy. He's not that guy ever since the concussion, right? But that's neither than there, right? Now you got Devon however you say his name, Acnia, right? He had 22 carries, total of 174 rushing yards, averaging 7.9 yards per rush, right? 2 touchdowns, right? Then now let's talk. Then you had Jalen Waddle, five racks, 84 total receiving yards, right? 16.8 receiving yards per game with one touchdown. He had a total of 7 targets, right? Then you had, again, Devon I hope I'm saying his name right. Acnia, right? 6 recs, right? 51 total yards, right? 8.5 total receiving yards, and he had a total of 6 targets, right? Now, the other touchdown came from Malik Washington, right? He had one reception, total of 7 yards, averaging 7 yards per game, and he had a total of like 3 targets. So, bottom line, this is kind of how it played out. The truth is, um, Buffalo, no offensive identity, okay? They're addicted to highlight football instead of surgical football. Meanwhile, the Dolphins were disciplined, right? Motion, tempo, and rhythm, right? Buffalo does not need any more talent, right? They need self control, right? When you play to prove you're the hero, you forget how to win as a team, okay? Again, sources coming from ESPN.com, right? I mean, Josh Allen looked like he was tired out there. He, I don't know moving forward what Buffalo's going to do. I always blame the head coach. Like I said, when lights get bright, Buffalo choke. Or Buffalo always finds a way to lose, right? Now, can they, will they go on a winning streak? Who knows? For Miami, can this win, push them up to be that playoff team that we see on paper they could be, or will it be a failing season? We don't know. Only time will tell. But let's move on to them Bears, baby. Let's move on to those Bears, right? How about them Bears, right? Caleb Williams and the Bears, they win again. Oh, man, Chicago's finally smiling. Bears beat the Giants 31-20. Caleb throwing 3 touchdowns and no picks, right? ESPN called it his most complete NFL game so far. Let's just go and see real quick. Let's see what Caleb was cooking, right? Because we got to just. I mean, this. I love it when they win. I love it when they win. I do. I love it because people be hating on the Bears. They really do. Oh, fact check that, y'all. The score's wrong. I don't know what's going on. I have my scores down right. I must be thinking about last game. Chicago Bears 24 to the Giants 20, right? Now, now let's get into the stat lines of this game, right? So let's see what actually transpired, what happened, right? Okay. So for the Giants, Jackson Dart, he was 19 for 29. He threw for 242 total passing yards, right? Averaging 8.3 passing yards per game, right? Now, let's go to Russ, because Russ did get in the game. Shockingly, he was 3 for 7, total yards throwing, 45, averaging 6.4 per passing yard, right? Let's go into the Russian, Tyrone Tracy Jr. Now, this guy had 14 carries, total of 71 yards, averaging 5.1 rushing yards per game. Okay. Jackson Dart had 6 carries, total of 66 total rushing yards. He's averaging 11 rushing yards per game. He had 2 touchdowns, right? Then you had Devin Singletary. Okay. He had 8 carries, total of 20 rushing yards, and averaging 2.5 carries per game. Right. Now, to their receiving core, and not really much. Yeah, Darius Slayton, yeah, 4 recs, 4 receptions, a total 89 yards receiving, averaging 22.3 receiving per game, 4 targets. We had Wayne Dale Robinson, who had 6 receptions, totaling 62 yards per reception, averaged 10.3 reception yards per game, and he had a total of 11 targets, right? But let's talk about what the Bears did, right? I gotta kick it off with my man Adunze, right? Gotta kick it off with Rome Adunze, right? He had 6 receptions, total of 86 yards per receiving. I mean, total of 86 receiving yards, right? 14.3 uh, per reception, right? He had 1 touchdown. He had 10 targets. Now we had Colston Loveland, right? Had 4 racks, total of 55 yards receiving this game, averaging 13.8 receiving yards per game. And again, he had 4 targets, right? Uh, DJ Moore had 4 targets, couldn't catch the ball to save his life. Okay. Caleb, my man Caleb, he was 20 for 36, throwing toward over 220 passing yards this game, averaging 6.1 passing yards per game, 1 touchdown. I mean, Caleb did his thing. DeAndre Swift, I kind of expect more from him. I mean, he had 13 carries, total of rushing yards 80, average 6.2 rushing yards per game, no touchdown. Now, this is what the stats are saying, right? The stats say growth. The film says confidence, right? He Caleb looked calm in the pocket, commanded protection, and found DJ Moore on key thirds, but DJ Moore couldn't was just unable to catch the ball, right? Here's the bigger story though. Chicago used to find ways to lose, right? Now they're learning to finish. Okay. That's a culture shift, one would say, right? If Caleb keeps balling like this, the Bears ain't a punch line anymore. They're going to be a problem, right? Sources coming from ESPN.com, right? Now, let's get into the final segment of the show, relationship talk. And do we have an interesting topic for today, y'all? Here is the topic. Is jealousy natural or toxic? Right? Now, let's just get real. Jealousy been running not running. It's ruining. It's been ruining relationships since the Bible days. But is it natural or toxic, right? So let's just jump into it, right? Frontiers, Frontiers in Psychology of 2024. They're saying mild jealousy is a natural signal of attachment and investment, right? Journal of Social and Personal Relationships of 2023. What are they saying? They're saying chronic jealousy correlates with control and anxiety, not love, right? And then, of course, Psychology Today, 2025, the article says they call jealousy a mirror emotion that reveals insecurity more than betrayal, right? So, what's real? One might say jealousy ain't the enemy, insecurity is. Natural jealousy says, I value this, right? Toxic jealousy says, I own this, right? If you can talk through your jealousy without control or accusation, you're healthy. But if you punish your partner for feeling seen by someone else, you're not protecting love, you're starving it. So, one thing I want to ask the room is this: have you ever mistaken control for care? Drop your truth in the comments because we don't judge here. We decode it. And that's one of the things I want people to really take a look at because, like, we all say jealousy is a female trait, it's a weak emotion. But, however, though, if you're like trying to make it like a control thing, then yeah, it's gonna ruin your relationship. I'm just gonna be honest with you because nobody likes a jealous individual. Some people think that's cute. Realistically, it ain't cute. It shows the type of person that that individual is because when you're talking about being jealous of something, like you might be jealous if somebody wins an award or something, right? And it's just like it could be like a competitional thing. But jealousy in your relationship, because if your partner's making more money and you're like getting pissed and mad and all that stuff, and you trying to micromanage them, tell them what they can and can't do, not just out of sake of protecting them, but just out of sake of you want to have some type of control or hold over them. That'll ruin a relationship and that'll run your partner away, right? We can talk more about that later. But for now, hey y'all, that's our show for today, right? It's your host, Trillionaire Chuck, reminding you to keep it real both in life and in love. Oh, wait, before I go, please do me a favor. Make sure to subscribe, drop a comment if you're rocking with the content, and I'll see you next time on Heartbeat Arena. I'm out. Peace.